Hey everyone, welcome to our year-end Ask the Experts webinar. I cannot wait to get us started today with our amazing team of experts here at Community Boost to help you boost your year-end marketing and fundraising results. So I want to get us started in the chat. Let us know where you're from and what organization you're with, and what you're most looking forward to this holiday season. It will come up later. All right. We have Rhoda from Vancouver, Canada. Thank you for joining. Ernie says lots of eggnog. All right. So we'll let everyone get settled in. We'll let everyone get settled in. And yes, we have Sarah here from Nurses Transforming Healthcare. We have Alicia from Autism's Family Connecticut. And San Diego folks in the room. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our webinar today. This is a unique webinar in that you are determining where we go with the conversation. So this is interactive. We want you to interact with the Q&A pane. Put all of your questions for our experts here in the chat. Before going any further, I want you to know a little bit more about Community Boost. So Community Boost is a digital marketing agency that exists to empower nonprofits and causes through high impact digital marketing so you can change the world. So we work with about 500 nonprofits directly through our agency services, and we also support about 200 nonprofits with our accelerator program, which I'm sure we'll tell you more about in just a little bit. And we're also really, really proud to host the Nonprofit Marketing Summit and provide free educational resources like webinars like these twice a year. And so I want to share a little bit more and extend an invite to you for the upcoming Nonprofit Marketing Summit. So it's March 5th through 7th, and we are going where no nonprofit has ever gone before, to the unthinkable. So unthinkable growth awaits at the Nonprofit Marketing Summit, and I would love for you to book your free tickets, and we'll see you there. All right. And without too much further ado, I want to get us started and give you an idea of what we're doing today. So again, this webinar will be recorded, so you'll get answers to all of your questions live today, and then you'll also get the recordings to take home with you in an email tomorrow. We can send you the few slides if you want for the intro as well, but we'll send you a bunch of resources in that follow-up email to put all of your learnings into action. So let's get it started today. I want to see your questions in the Q&A pane to help us get started helping you boost your year-end fundraising results. So put your questions in the Q&A pane, and while you're doing that, I want to know how you are feeling about your year-end marketing and fundraising. So is it going great? Are you exceeding your goals? Is it going just good? You're on track? Is it going just okay? You're not really sure if you're going to hit your goals. could it be a little bit better? Are you feeling behind and trying to catch up? Or is it not so great and that's why you're here and you're looking for some help? So we'll get that poll launched in just a second here for you. So I got to take my slides off the stage. That'd be helpful, so that you guys can answer the poll. All right. So looks like we got some okays in here so far. Some are trying to catch up. Some not so good. That's why you're here. We're here to help. We got it. We have a good. We have someone who's doing good. I like to see good. All right. So we'll leave this up for just a moment so everyone has the chance to respond. And I look forward to getting us started. I already see a bunch of great questions coming in. So keep the questions coming and we'll get to as many as we can. All right. So it looks like so far we're feeling like okay is the front runner here, with 35% of you feeling okay about where you're at when it comes to your year-end marketing and fundraising. We have also a few goods here, so you're on track to hit your goals, but maybe you want to exceed those goals, and so we'll get to a few tactics that you can use to do that today. And then, there's plenty of you that are looking to catch up, and we're excited to help you do that in just a moment here. So I'm going to take the poll down, and I cannot wait to get us started and introduce all of our incredible team members here at Community Boost who are here to help. So I will put us all on the stage, and then we'll get started with our Ask Us Anything. So let's get it started. Geraldine, tell us a little bit about yourself and also one thing that you're looking forward to this holiday season.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Geraldine. I'm an account director here, and I've been working here for about 4 years across several channels. So I'm excited to dive in today and answer some of your questions. The thing I am most excited about this holiday season is that my sister and her husband are coming to visit me in San Diego.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Geraldine. Michael, get us started. Tell us more about you and what you do and what you're excited about.
Thanks so much, Candace. My name's Michael. I'm the director of our client service team and an account director as well, like Geraldine. I think I'm the most excited to finally stop having to order pumpkin spice lattes, which is just like my absolute go-to during the mornings. I actually got my first peppermint mocha, and I still have it right here with me. So
officially made the switch.
I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, Michael, thanks for being here. Andrew, tell us more about what you do here at Community Boost and what you're looking forward to.
All right, so my name's Andrew, and I'm out here in San Diego. I work on Meta ads and LinkedIn ads, and I think I'm gonna say we have a lot of kids in the family out of nowhere, so I'm excited to see like Christmas through their eyes again.
All right, Ernie, next up, I want you to tell everyone about you, what you do here at Community Boost, and what you're excited about for this holiday season.
Awesome. Well, I think so far, whoever popped on knows what I'm excited for this holiday season is the eggnog. I'm a big eggnog fan, and it's weird. I feel like I've been hearing people saying like they hate eggnog, so it's really nice to see some people in chat posting they love eggnog too. So Team Nog here all day, every day. What I do here at Community Boost is I lead our marketing team, our accelerator team, our partnership team, and also our nonprofit marketing club. So do a number of things on the fundraising, marketing, and the business development side. So super exciting to be here and answer all of your questions and make sure that we crush the last 2 weeks of December, because this is it. This is like what 30% of fundraising happens right here, right now. So ask all of your questions, get the answers. If you're running into problems, this is your chance to get them answered, because the people on this panel right now, they've done it. They know the answer. So this is your cheat sheet. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. All right, Reagan, you're up next.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. My name is Reagan Deshawn. I'm the Senior Director of Innovation at Community Boost. Definitely an interesting title that doesn't usually exist at a lot of companies, but really I lead our research and development initiatives here The marketing space is always changing, and it's us on us as an agency to adapt with that and make sure we understand all the different channels that are out there, all the best strategies, so that we can bring that to you all. So that's what I do here. I'm super excited for the winter. I live up in the Pacific Northwest, so I love snow and really excited to get out on the mountain and do some snowboarding over the holidays. So I'm going to post my LinkedIn in the chat. Would love to connect with you all there.
Thanks, Reagan. And last but certainly not least, we have Emily here.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm the Google Ads channel lead at Community Boost, so I'm basically a self-proclaimed Google nerd. The thing that I am most excited about for this holiday season, I'm going up to my parents' house for Christmas, and my dad always makes Swedish pancakes the morning of Christmas, and they are delicious, so I'm really excited for that.
That sounds really good, and I might hit you up for a recipe, so
Do it.
I am just so thankful for all of you being here today and creating space to help all of the nonprofits here really boost their efforts. And guys, these are the absolute experts. If I had any questions about year end, I'm going to this team right here. So we'll kick it off. There's a lot of great questions already. You can post your Q&As in the Q&A pane. And you can also upvote the questions that you want answered the most. So let's kick it off. So Rebecca asked, how many emails is too many in a week? So I think this is really helpful, especially as we're leading into year ends and that last week of the year, where you do want to do a lot of communications in that week to really maximize those gifts. So let us know. What do you guys think? How many emails is too many emails? Is that a thing? Interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, it also depends a lot on the context of, how you're sending those emails. Are you sending just one templated email to every person on your list? You're going to burn that out pretty quick. But, if you're kind of sending out different emails to different personas that are on that list, like we're sending out our emails specifically about donating to non-donors, and are we changing that language for donors, and are we changing that language for donors who give under $100 a year, donors who give $100 to $500 a year, or donors that give over $10,000 a year? I'd say that matters more than anything. Where it's going to feel to that individual like they're getting too many emails is if that email isn't relevant to them and doesn't give them an opportunity to engage. So it's not even necessarily about too many emails. Like, you could send something every day to that person, but it just comes down to, is it going to actually be valuable for them? Because the second they start opening emails and it's not relevant to them, they're going to stop opening going forward. So, yeah.
I would say too, just as a general kind of, if we're like looking to hone in on a number just to be able to feel good about it, I would say like 4 would be where I would cap it during the year end season in a week. I think that if you're able to kind of along the lines of what Reagan was saying, if you're also able to sort of vary what the intention of the emails are, you almost buy yourself a little bit more freedom to communicate more. Like, if some of those emails aren't pure ask focused, but they're like, here's what our nonprofit is up to this holiday season. Here's how we're helping, whether it's kids or helping homelessness or whatever it is that you do, and you send one that's more focused on impact, that can actually be a really nice way to break up some of those consistent asks that a lot of people who are in the philanthropic space are receiving from a lot of nonprofits. But I'm curious, do you guys feel like 4 is a fair answer? Like, anything more than that's too many?
Yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to, again, what is that context and who is that list for? I mean, 4 emails to the same person on a list might be too much, but it also depends on how often you've been connecting with them. I think 4 emails in 1 week at the last week of the year, where 10% or I think more than that of all online giving is happening. Sure, like, let's send an email those 3 days, maybe once at the beginning of the week, and then the last 3 days of the year. If you're doing that every week, then yeah, you're probably gonna burn them out.
Yeah,
I think it also depends on how much you segment those communications and what the content is, where it's like, if you're varying the content, you're telling, maybe different stories, and each email has its own purpose, and they don't feel like they're getting like tons of like repeat content. I think that can keep it fresh, where you might be able to send more than that, and still get like really good responses. So I think it honestly just depends on your email strategy.
Yeah,
I,
and
I
to
did
your
in chat. Rebecca also said maybe she should have rephrased her question to how many is too few emails, and I would say like we should definitely be trying to get in contact like once a week, but that all comes down to like what that message is, and if you balance, like if you have solid email automation that can make sure that they're getting some sort of communication. If you connect it with your CRM and they visited the donate page and didn't finish that gift, and you have an email that can get triggered to go out, like that counts as a touch point. It doesn't always have to be, you don't want to send them a newsletter every week. That's going to be too much.
I feel like Ernie had an idea. He wanted to throw something in there.
no, it's all. I think it's all going the right direction. So yeah, to Reagan's point, making it more relevant, and how to figure out the best amount of emails. I think the easiest way to do this for everyone here, because email is your lowest hanging fruit. It's also free. It doesn't cost you much to do, and it just takes a little bit of time. The best approach is just break down the audiences. I gave you an example right there. And then from there, just it makes the relevancy piece a lot easier, because now you know who you're targeting and what you need to say. But that's where I would start. Just segment it, like Goodrum said earlier. Segment out your email, segment out your audiences, and then just make it super relevant. And from there, you'll see what's too much and what's not enough. But as long as you're segmenting the audiences, I think that's probably the most important piece to it.
Yeah, and I think this directly ties into Kelly's question here, which is my email engagement is lower than ever with so much competition. What else can I do with no time for direct mail and limited to no funds for social? And I think she probably means like social advertising. So yeah, any suggestions for Kelly to really increase her engagement with little to no costs?
I guess my question is like, are you trying to figure out what else you can do to improve that email engagement, or just engagement across the board?
Yeah, I think we can answer across the board, but also if someone wants to touch on email engagement, like let's do both. It's a two-part question, I guess.
That's perfect. I think some of the people that will likely have the best answers are going to be our client service team, just because they look at these things every single day. So I'll start it, and then hopefully just probe it into where, because I know they're thinking like 10 different strategies right now. And Kelly's here clearing it up, but would say email engagement, but also across everything. Yeah. So the biggest piece with email engagement also is going to be relevancy, right? We live in a very personalized world right now. If you all think about it, I just went on Uber Eats last night to order food, and I exited out. And like 10 minutes later, like my notification popped up. It was like, hey, here's like additional places offering soup. And I was like, oh, that's weird, because I was looking for soup and they sent me, it wasn't like, here's the next pizza spot. It personalized it based off what I was doing. So to ensure that my attention stayed, on course of what I was wanting. So same thing when it comes to engagement is, is your messaging relevant to the people you're targeting, and are you writing or are you showing them the things that they want to see? And that's kind of, I think that's like the first question that I would check with your strategy. But I'm super curious to see what Geraldine and Goodrum have to say about it.
Yeah, I think for some of my partners that are doing year-end fundraising with email campaigns, we've built a story. So that storytelling piece is huge. We have some students that we're featuring, and we don't give away all of the information in just one email. So one week we share some information about their background, then we've been sharing some information about the programs they've been in, and then how those programs have supported their ability to stay in high school. And each week kind of layers onto that story, so you keep them wanting more. And then in the emails, we have actual video content of the students, and it doesn't have to be that complex. You can simply just build on a static image and have the story embedded into your emails, but having them kind of, it's like reading a book, right? You're like, ooh, what's the next chapter? What's going to happen with this kid or this person or this animal or whatever it is that you're supporting next? And I think that's been a really big piece just for overall engagement and success, is having something that's not just a one-time send that ends, but that continues to layer on.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think that's, if we're talking engagement and like true consistent interest from your audience, that's such a great way to go about it, Geraldine. And I think they'll just, one more thing to add on top of that is you might put all this thought into a story that you're telling over time, but if people aren't opening those emails, then they're falling on deaf ears. So always A/B testing those subject lines as well. And once if you feel like you've really honed in on what your audience favors most on the subject line, you can start playing with that preview text as well. So like that kind of first sentence that is leading people into what the email is actually saying would be the only other thing I would add there.
I totally agree with Michael on that. I think that's so important because when it comes to email engagement, it's important to pinpoint like where that fall off is. Like maybe your open rates, I can tell you that the average open rate for nonprofits is extremely high. It's actually one of the highest open rates out of any industry. It's about 22% is the average open rate, where like an e-commerce company, it's about 15%. And so, you have to pinpoint and say, is my open rate solid? And people just aren't engaged, like maybe they're not donating or doing the things that you ask. That's going to be a content problem. But if, like, just like Michael said, if you can have the best content in the world, but if people aren't even opening the email, that's where you have to think through, that piece. And definitely agree on the subject line, but also, take into consideration, we're going into, the end of year, and this is the biggest time for sales, right? We had Black Friday and like everybody's doing their Christmas shopping, and, I know in my like personal email, I have like 22,000 unread emails. Things get buried so fast. So also really think about your send time and what day that you're sending it on. When is, DSW and, all these other companies, Nike, when are they sending out their emails? And if it's at 6 a.m. on a Monday, let's not, send it that time. And so that takes experimentation. You never know where your people are at, but it may not help you for this year, but at least trying different days and different send times for this year and throughout next year, it'll set you up for better success next year end.
Yeah. The one last thing I do want to add to this, I think this goes to the first email as well. The first question is, from my end, when I look at in our accelerator program, we see a lot of clients come in that are building their email strategy. They're building their email, they're writing out their emails, testing different things. The thing that I've noticed a lot that happens is a lot of the emails are really long, and you're getting everything, all the amazing things you've done. You're putting it all on the email because you want the person to read and see all the impact, all the great story everything, right? You want to showcase all the great work you've done. There's only one problem with that. We forgot about this old saying, which is, always leave them wanting more. And if you put it all out there, then what is the next email going to be about, right? So something also to think about is provide information, but just enough where it keeps them intrigued and interested, where the next email comes in, they're like, oh, I want to see like, what is the continued add-on or the story to this? Something that could help with engagement, but also if you're noticing a lower engagement, it might just be that the emails too are maybe just too long lately. And with the time, right, holidays and everything, people don't have the time to sit there and read through. People kind of skim through things. So it might be worth testing and figuring out how you leave them wanting more versus putting it all out there.
Awesome. All right. Well, these have been such great strategies. I've seen some questions in the chat. Just a reminder to put everything in the Q&A pane so we can make sure that we get to all of your questions. But I believe that Alan asks a question about how do you create those eye-catching subject lines during year end? Oh, Ernie, I think you're muted.
Oh, I was saying, I think Reagan has the best answer for this, because I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a screen right now open to a really amazing tool that will provide you some of the best subject lines and get the ball rolling. So, Alan, there's so many ways to create amazing subject lines. The best way to do it, obviously, is to test like every email we send out for everyone here to know. The secret sauce is that you send, 2 emails. You A/B test with 2 different subject lines to just a portion of your people, and you see which one had the highest open rates, and then that one is the winner, and then you send the rest of your list. Now, how do you find the best one? I'd let Reagan answer this, and then you kind of go from there.
Thanks, Ernie. Appreciate that. Well, first, I know Ernie is alluding to AI, and Alan, I saw you posted in the chat about using AI to create content. What I will say, we definitely are huge fans of AI. I think it is one of those things that it is the way that things are going, and you do have to embrace it. But it's also important to know its limitations as well. And so I think it's a great ideation tool, and it depends on what tool you're using. I would say for this context, ChatGPT is going to be a better tool, but I wouldn't use it unless you are actually paying for the ChatGPT Plus. So you get ChatGPT 4, just because it can take into account like complex reasoning and things that ChatGPT 3 is just going to spit out a response that sounds okay, but it's going to be missing a lot of crucial information. But yeah, using that for ideation is great. I would never recommend taking that and immediately posting it, though. You want to give it the context, give it the outline, have it write it, see what you like, what you don't like, and then rewrite it yourself. You always want your content to sound human. And if it's coming across as sounding like an AI, you're going to lose out on engagement. And I get a lot of those emails, and you can very easily tell when it's AI or not AI. So as far as the subject line thing, again, you can do that using AI to kind of come up with some different ideas, take the ones you like best. But really, I would say long term, it comes down to your ESP, your email service provider, and its capabilities, but highly recommend A/B testing. You can send one version of the subject line to 50% of the audience, another version to another 50%, and get data. Maybe do a longer, subject line, maybe a shorter one with emojis, one without. And over time, you collect that data and understand what's best for your audience, because it comes down to your nonprofit and your tone. Like emojis might be super appropriate for an organization that deals with a lot of younger individuals and stuff like that, but maybe not as appropriate for a senior care center, right? So you have to kind of test that and gather that data over time.
And the only thing I'll add to that is like, I do see a lot of success when we do personalization in emails. So consider using personalization tokens to include your audience's name or potentially even their company name if you're looking for corporate gifts. So.
And then one other thing too, this is something that even in our email service, we always do. I would highly recommend setting up like a Gmail account that you can access where you just use that. Go to the biggest nonprofits and the best nonprofits that you know of with tons of experience and tons of budget. And because they've been doing the testing, subscribe, you can collect that throughout the year. And you can start seeing, with other nonprofits that are maybe bigger in your field, like Charity Water or Save the Children or World Food Program, whatever it might be, like see what they're doing and borrow some of those ideas. Again, they've probably tested it. And if it's a similar enough organization, you're probably starting off on a better foot. You still have to, A/B test and find out what's best for you. But it's a good starting place, and it's free,
That's a great tip. Thanks, Regan. I want to shift us slightly in a different direction. Alicia asked a question about, do you really appeal to donors who have already donated this calendar year? Is that annoying? Interested in your thoughts, team.
I definitely think so. You just want to be very attentive to the fact that they have supported you already this year. So I think that leading with gratitude, which is something that we always do here at Community Boost, we actually go pretty full force on gratitude, even with our ads. But that's a totally different story that maybe we'll get into at some point today. But leading with gratitude for the fact that they have already supported you this year. I think if you're able to mention even some of the things you've been able to accomplish throughout the year that was a result of them and other people supporting you during the year, that can make that gratitude piece go even further. And then I think you absolutely open the door to invite them to help you create even more impact in 2024.
Yeah, I'm big on I think that's exactly it. Like the gratitude piece. A lot of times people don't see ads that just thank them for their support. It's just like a simple thank you for everything that you've done. You're not asking them for money. We see a lot of donations come in through those ads. I think changing the way that you're asking for something can help with this too. So instead of just asking for another donation, can they maybe donate monthly at like a $10, $15, $20 impact level? And you can share what those impact levels are and say, you know, support us throughout 2024 so that you're not just asking for the same thing repeatedly.
And just to offer another like perspective, I think like specifically on a platform like Meta, I think it would be important to retarget donors from this previous year. Maybe, you know, you want to exclude donors from the previous 60 days or so, because they're pretty recent. But we've actually found a lot of success just, you know, retargeting to previous donors from, you know, this year or even like the last 2 years. So I think it's important to at least give it a shot. You know, if it's not converting, you can always turn it off. But yeah, yeah, I really like the idea of like starting with gratitude, you know, in a pre-wire campaign and then leading into a donation ask. But yeah, I think there's also a lot to be said for the fact that they probably want to support your organization, but you know, you kind of need to like invite them and ask them and, you know, extend a hand so they can, you know, so it stays top of mind. But I don't think you should count out your donors from this year completely.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, expecting completely brand new people in the last 2 weeks of the year to kind of carry out the rest of your fundraising is a little unrealistic. So I definitely think you should tap in on people who have already been enrolled in your mission earlier in the year. And yeah, I think the messaging is so important. I think either someone who is very enrolled in your mission, you know, again, depending on the language and how you message it, shouldn't be annoyed. They probably want to help you, you know, increase your impact again. Or maybe there's someone who donated at the beginning of the year and they forgot. I think a lot of time we think that, you know, our nonprofits are just on people's minds 24/7, and there are definitely causes that maybe I saw a Meta ad at one point and donated, and they're not really on my radar anymore, and I do need that reminder to, you know, maybe make that second donation. So just echoing everything everyone said.
Yeah, and to that point, also, I mean, if they're, you know, a fan of your organization, they've supported you in the past, and you know, it's a good time to leverage like a Giving Tuesday or a year-end match or something, because then, you know, they'll feel like if they donate the same amount, you know, they have twice the impact, and that really we see a lot of success with that kind of stuff too. So I feel like, you know, if you can get a match, you know, in place for the last couple weeks, that's a really good way to like set yourself apart from the competition, and you probably will see some repeat donors, maybe even donors that donated within the last month.
Yeah.
Reagan,
Oh.
you're muted. All right, he's still muted. It's all good, but
I think I got him. I think I got him.
there you go.
Nope.
No worries, but
Come back to Reagan. We'll come back to Reagan.
as he figures it out, I do want to just say, Tawny, when you're doing the gratitude, you always want to leave that donate button on whenever you're doing it, just because, you know, you're saying thank you for supporting Giving Tuesday. It was, you know, thank you for supporting the mission. Because you're just saying thank you, not a lot of people thank their donors. Not a lot of thank yous just get sent out in the world in general. Like it's what is it? It's like 10:30 here. I might have said one thank you when I picked up my coffee, right? So it doesn't happen quite often. I probably met like, you know, I probably walked by like 60 different people. So it doesn't happen often. So when you're doing that, that gesture sometimes also generates a reason to give as well. So you always want to have that donate button available and, you know, showing, especially after on a gratitude campaign. And yeah, I would always add it pretty much to everything, every email you're sending. You want to give them the ability to give.
Also, just really quick to that point, Ernie, I feel like I've had some orgs, you know, send like handwritten letters as part of a gratitude campaign, or you know, leave voicemails, you know, 2-3 years ago, and I still like it's such a vivid memory, like just like it was really impactful to like get a voicemail from someone at the org or get a handwritten note, and like that definitely has inspired me to become a consistent donor. So I feel like being creative with how you're expressing gratitude, or like adding the personalized touch, or you know, more human touch, just you know, we're all kind of disconnected these days, could make a big difference.
That's such a great point, Andrew. And I just, so last year, my mom started donating to Charity Water, and she got like a voicemail drop from Scott Harrison on December 31st saying, like, thank you for your support, but also, like, we're still looking to raise more and meet our goal this year end. And it definitely worked and stood out. So I do think that's like a really great strategy.
Awesome.
So, well, I think this was really, really great tips. Definitely retarget those donors who already gave. They're still big fans of your mission and want to see that continue moving forward. So, coming up next, we have Joshua's question, which is, what is your best suggestion for a zero cost strategy for the last week of the year for smaller nonprofits? So, how, as a small nonprofit, can you really stand out and get in front of your audience for little to no costs?
I have a ton of answers, but I know the CS team is going to have like way better ones. So
there are so many platforms in this day and age that are completely free that you can use organically that have just a mass amount of reach. I think, my brain kind of goes to TikTok, to Instagram, to Facebook, where you really can, as long as you're posting consistently, beat that algorithm and show up on the right pages of the people that you're trying to reach. So organic social media, I mean, it does take time. So time is money at the end of the day, but it is a great way to start building that following and building the pipeline of people that could potentially give to you during your end. So that's kind of my, like, where my brain goes. And then also on the creative side of things, for everyone on this call, Canva gives nonprofits a free pro account. So you can go apply for that free pro account, create graphics and images that are beautiful or that have a strong call to action, and share that on your social media as well. I think that's a great resource to take advantage of that's completely free. And then Emily can probably speak to this a bit more too, but the Google Ad Grant is also free, $10,000 of free advertising for nonprofits. A little bit more challenging to set up if you don't know the technicality behind it, but you could probably Google your way into, or, join our accelerator or nonprofit marketing club into building a donation campaign that can also aid in some of that traffic as well.
Yeah, definitely. I can speak a little bit more to the Google Ad Grant. I mean, Geraldine pointed out it's $10,000 a month. Obviously, we're talking about the last week of the year here, and I will preface it. The Google Ad Grant a lot of times are reaching people who are brand new, who might be interested in your mission or cause, but maybe not know about your nonprofit. So a lot of times it is the first touch point. So I will give that caveat: is it going to drive direct donations immediately within 1 week? I don't know if that should be the expectation. It definitely supports other channels and just kind of helps that user journey along and kind of gets your foot in the door. But it is completely free. It also is pretty non-discriminatory in terms of, every nonprofit gets the same Google Ad Grant. And so you're not having to worry about another nonprofit with a massive budget, out competing you with the ad grant. It does, your ranking does change depending on how quality your keywords are and how high quality your ads are and how high quality your landing pages. So that matters, and how you set up your account does matter in terms of how often you're going to show up on the search engine results page. But it's definitely a low cost option, and if you want to reach new people, I'd say it's a great strategy. And then I think from there, another thing to point out would be just your landing page. I mean, I know we're getting into the very end of the year, and so there's probably not a lot of time to overhaul websites or landing pages, but maybe even just thinking about, okay, is our problem getting new people to the site, or is our problem actually getting those people to donate and convert? I know other people on this call probably want to talk about conversion rate optimization a little bit more, but I think it's just important to point out, like, can you change the color of a button, or can you change an image or some messaging on the landing page to really convince the people who do reach your site to just take that extra step and donate?
Yeah, Reagan, does your mic work? Just want to.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, it's working.
I don't know what happened. So anyway,
no, it's good. And then I would just, I think to all of those points, I think Andrew added in here as well, like P2P. I think that's another very low cost and free option essentially for ways to fundraise. So just coming up with different types of strategies around that would be super, super, valuable. And I think it would drive a huge ROI. Like birthday fundraisers. I know it's something we've tested a ton. And then there's so many other things, events in a person's life that I think could be utilized as, fundraisers that I think could help just add additional things to your strategy.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much. So many practical tips here. Definitely take advantage of the Google Ad Grant. I don't think it's too late. And great point, Emily, about optimizing your donation page, because even some small tweaks can really make a big difference when it comes to your fundraising. So this was great, guys. I actually have a question for you. So, I wanted to throw this in there because we talked a little bit about getting a matching gift for year end. So, for nonprofits that don't have a matching gift in place, but they want to try, what are some of your tips for a last minute matching gift?
Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't we done it in the past where sometimes at year end we see someone donate like a large amount, like $1,000 or $2,000, and then we just have the team talk to the donor and say, "Hey, can we say that this is a match?" And then, I mean, they've already made the donation, but then it gives you the ability to say, "Hey, the next $1,000 in donations are matched." And I think we've done that in the past, and it worked really well. But I don't know for sure. I wasn't on the account. So.
Yeah, I think that, like, if you maybe with a little more lead time, but if you can work it out, like if you have consistent larger donors, just asking them to use that as a match would be a good way to go. Also, I feel like pulling in your board or executives, could be good for last minute as well. I had another one. I mean, maybe even like, I mean, this might be for next year, but like, I feel like kind of building relationships with like local businesses or local donors or something, starting to build those relationships could be good for next year. But I think your board could be a good resource to tap for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, did I wait? So I just want to make sure I understood the question. So the question was around recurring donors, right?
Or no, I started to say recurring because I
Oh,
was also reading a question in the chat about recurring donors, but I meant like getting that match in place. So like
oh, getting
for
okay.
yeah, because we mentioned that like matching is like so great at like driving some extra gifts this like during year end.
Yeah.
But yeah, to Andrew's point, I think it's perfect to kind of tap your board because they should be giving to your year end campaign anyway. So if they haven't yet, seeing if even like $1,000 match or hopefully even $5,000 match could be a really great way to drive some increased donations and engagement. So I think there was a statistic that I saw, I forget the source, but basically like when you have a matching gift in place, you tend to get about 50% more per gift. So
Mhm.
it definitely increases the average gift size.
Yeah, I absolutely true, and we see that consistently across all the different kinds of channels that we run. I think that when you're doing a campaign like that, making sure you're saying things other than just double your impact, and I think that sort of like the generic things that people are used to hearing, although we do still see that kind of copy work, for lack of a better word. To sort of building off of what Reagan was saying around reaching out to someone who's made a somewhat sizable gift. Like sizable was going to mean something different to all the nonprofits that are on here, but to use the example of 2,000, yeah, that could be one that you're potentially like maybe like meshing together with another gift or two of those sizes, and then people love to be acknowledged, right? Like we don't, not every time we make a gift to a nonprofit is purely for the acknowledgement of it, but human beings do like to have their name on things and to be acknowledged for it. So I think if you have the ability to even reach out to someone who's in previous years made larger contributions and say, especially if they haven't yet this year, and say like, hey, we know that you've done this in the past, and this is like a very direct one-to-one piece of communication, right? We'd actually really love if you're open to it, like here's what we've accomplished this year, still leading with like value in your mission, but we would love to feature you as a person who's supporting a match for us. and see if we could create even more impact, but also just like make sure that the world knows that you're up to something important with us. So I know, and I definitely agree. Like boards ideally are supporting us, but I've also heard enough of our partners over the years say that they're just like having trouble really mobilizing that support from boards. So hopefully that's not the case for people on this webinar. But if that is, then looking at your database, even if it's like some of those LY Bunt or like SY Bunt donors that are out there that have maybe made large gifts in the past, it can't hurt to reach out to see if you can activate a match from them.
Thanks so much, Michael. I think that's a really great point as well. Hopefully, you can activate your board, but that's also super helpful. So, thank you guys. I have another question that's pulled up here. Carmen asked, "Is it common to see a drop in engagement during a social media fundraising campaign, or maybe just a fundraising campaign in general?" So, curious to see if you've experienced this with organizations that you've been fundraising for, and any tips to really drive increased engagement to help reach those goals.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you're defining the engagement and what your actual approach looks like. So if you just throw out a campaign that is fundraising and you haven't actually cultivated from the very top, you might not necessarily see the engagement you're looking for, right? So anytime we run a campaign, we typically run 1 to 3 tiers of campaigns before we make an ask. So you have your traffic campaign that you're sending people to, a landing page so that they can learn more about your year-end fundraising efforts and what you're doing. We might have an engagement campaign or a video views campaign, something else to further engage them. And then that final ask is that conversion campaign where we're funneling all of those people that we've already cultivated in some capacity and then asking them to make a donation. If you just jump right in and you're like, everyone donate to me, but you didn't really put the work behind it, you might see that you're not getting the engagement or the donations that you're actually looking for. So I would say that's probably has to do with strategy. If you did all those things and you're still seeing lack of engagement, I would bring it back to, what does your content look like? What does the ad copy look like? What are the CTAs behind what you're sharing? Just making sure that you're always A/B testing the branding as well.
I think to build on that, Geraldine, just wanted to use Meta as an example. It's very goal oriented. So if you're doing a donation campaign, it's going to have less engagement than an engagement campaign, which is optimizing for a different goal. But some things I look for, just metrics wise, to see if a campaign might be losing steam. You can check. You can check to see if the reach and impressions are starting to go on a downward trend. So if they're starting to drop off quite a bit, you're going to stop reaching new people. And the other thing that's really easy to check is frequency. So if your frequency we can just go by the month, or for the length of your campaign, if it's over 6, I would say think about reaching new audiences. Look at your audience sizes. They might be too small, and then those are some indicators that your ads are starting to lose efficiency. And then once they start to lose efficiency, they're not going to get delivered as much. They're not going to get shown as much. So those are a couple things you can check. I mean, if you guys are advertising on Meta, just some different audiences to try that we've seen success with, just open targeting. So if you're pretty much no interests, no demographics, no custom audiences, just keep it super broad and see if that works for you. Or lookalikes perform really well as well. So keep an eye on those things.
Hey, yeah, I guess and opening it up to maybe just campaigns in general. So for anyone who's finding that their year-end fundraising campaign seems to be at a little bit of a lull right now, which I do actually feel in general is pretty typical, especially around the middle of December. So what do you recommend to drive increased donations, increased engagement in this little bit of a lull before the last week of the year?
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about this on various webinars a lot. It's almost predictable. Like this trough is what we call it in a fundraising campaign. So it's year end, but it typically is almost any fundraising campaign that's going to like last for a week or more. Um, this is like there's a more detailed explanation for this, but getting scrappy. So just like, what has your messaging been throughout the campaign? And to Geraldine's point earlier, like what has your kind of overarching story been if you're telling it through emails and things like that? And if you're starting to see a drop in response, what our team will do when we're working directly with clients on their fundraising campaigns is say, okay, let's look at the kind of library of different kinds of appeals that are out there, which if you want, you can easily Google that. There's like emotional appeals, logical appeals, statistics-based appeals. Like there's so many different things that trigger parts of people's brains because we're all different. And take it in a different direction. If you've been really focusing on like positive logical appeals, so it's like we're talking about how this thing that we do is solving this problem and it's very like related and it's positive and direct, try a negative emotional appeal, take it in the different direction. Because not that you don't have anything to lose, like you want to make sure you are still representing your nonprofit's brand in the light that you want your community to feel yourself in. It's the time to pull out all the stops. So I know that's kind of general, but it's like taking a look at the flavor and the theme and the ethos of how you've been sharing yourself, and switching it up. And then you can take that information about did this work or it definitely didn't work, and then you can use that to build into that last week of the year, which is the most critical part of the fundraising period.
I think going along with what Michael just said too, I think like those are also like great techniques to do all year long, so you can like have learnings and knowledge and data going into your end. But like some specific things that I like to do right now and like to like mix it up, build urgency, because urgency is such a powerful tool, especially on like, you know, social advertising. But I like to do like a countdown series. It works really well for Giving Tuesday, so I emulate it for a year end. You know, 2 weeks to the end of the year, it's the last week of the year. You know, like so building that urgency, and then just having some general urgency ads, like, you know, like what impact have you left this year? You know, 2024 is coming up. Like, are you ready to make an impact, or like have you like it's almost the end of the year, like let's end it on an impactful note, or like, so just that kind of stuff. Maybe even playing into like the tax deduction card. So I feel like, you know, if you feel like your ads aren't gaining steam, you know, it's okay to like have a couple in the back, you know, to try later, or even like, you know, kind of schedule out like on the 15th we'll launch countdown, and then on the 20th some urgency, and then on the 25th the last countdown ad. So I think like there's like some like there's some like, you know, specific things you can do like right now to like switch it up, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, Candace, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to bring up a tool called Google Trends if people aren't using that, but they do use Google Ads, because it is kind of a little bit of different type of keyword research tool. So if you're familiar with Keyword Planner within the Google Ads platform, that uses historical data within the past year, but Google Trends actually measures the popularity of searches in real time. So you can even look at the last day or the last week and see if there's a trend of search popularity. So it's a good way to just add new keywords that people are actually searching for right now.
Thanks, Emily, for the pro tip. Love it. I want to get us on to Allison's question, which is any suggestions for a timeline or content calendar for year-end fundraising on social media? So curious about what you feel like are the posts that are most effective and when in the last 2 weeks of the year. So this seems like more of like an organic strategy than I think like we were talking a little bit about ads. So anything that you find that stands out?
Yeah, I think a lot of it ties to the algorithm. So making sure that you're posting pretty consistently. Otherwise, you're just not going to show up on placements if you're not posting, I would say, like almost daily for a lot of these platforms. So it's kind of the opposite of the email world where, yeah, we want daily posts. You want different types of content that you're sharing. And then also just make sure that during year end, your ads are a little bit more urgency focused. So you don't always want to go in with the sad story or the more urgent call to action. But this time of year is a great time to schedule those types of posts that are a little bit more urgent and emotional.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, and if you're, oh, go ahead, Reagan.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, on the ads side, even, I mean, I think it's really important to balance like your organic strategies and your ad strategies when it comes to asks, because the hard thing with organic when it comes to like asking for money is, we don't raise money by just saying like, hey, can everybody give me $25? Like, it might work for a couple people, but that's not going to be super successful. You have to really hit kind of that individual's reasoning. And so, with when you're making a post like on Facebook or on Instagram, everybody who follows you can see that. And so it's impossible for you to like really personalize that towards a specific audience where, when you're using those ad strategies, you can upload those lists. And again, look at those people who have been on your website but haven't donated yet. Great. Like I need to talk to them about why they should give to us. And to do that, they have to know, what is the cause that we're supporting? Why are they needing support? And why are we the best ones for them to give to? Where when you're asking people who've already donated to you, they already have that reasoning. They need to know why they should give again. And so in your ads, you can control that audience who's going to see whatever you're posting. And I think that can help a lot. The other thing is, there's so many different organic channels, and it's really important to understand the nuances between those and the audiences that are on those as well. So, Facebook, you're mainly going to be with like seen by those people who already follow you and are still active on Facebook. Like I know a lot of us have grown our Facebook profiles maybe a while ago, and it's, I think we all experienced this where we have like a lot of followers and then somehow like, oh, this thing only got 13 views, even though I have 30,000 followers. And it's like, okay, well, those people have been there for years, right? Maybe they've moved on. And so, understanding, okay, in Facebook, it's going to be a very text-based appeal. On Instagram, it's going to be a more image or video-based appeal. Even realizing like, what's my message that I'm going to put on my, Instagram feed, which is mainly going to be seen by people who already follow me, versus what am I going to be posting on Instagram Reels, where it's brand new people that are more likely to see that. And this is a hard one for a lot of nonprofits, but I'd challenge you to get started on TikTok as well. That's where you're going to find that younger demographic. And that's really where you're going to reach new people. I mean, that it's not as great for like connecting with those people who already follow you, but it is an incredible tool for finding brand new people with the way the algorithm works. So, that strategy will change based on the audience, the demographic, and the platform. But if you don't understand those nuances, then it's going to be really hard to have a strategy that even works.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sorry, I was going to add just one more thing. I also, for everyone that's on this call today, asking like a lot of the questions have been how to improve the engagement, how to improve like our social strategy, our post, our etc. Use this like we're like 2 weeks away from December ending, from the year being done. If you feel that your engagement is low and it's hard to get that to get the attention that you're looking for, you're not driving any donations from social media and utilizing all these free channels, this is a really good time to take the lesson to really look at your 2023 year in review. Like, how active were you in these channels to really plan for 2024? It's, we work a lot, we work with a lot of nonprofits. I see Al here, he's at a nonprofit marketing club. There's the accelerator, there's Google Launch, but there's so many different things that we've added to provide support. And the problem is there's only so much support you can get that it doesn't involve like action or activity. And social media takes a lot of activity, which means like you really got to look at what you've done this year and what do you truly need to do for next year to improve your numbers by 10%, 30%, 40%. And what does that actually look like for an ROI and a donation? So I'd love to look at, the audiences you're targeting, take a look at the posts you've been submitting, look at it all, and then identify, to even Reagan's point, have they been going in the right sections? Have they been going to reels, to stories? Has your Facebook post been more like text heavy? Are you on TikTok? And then how much of it are you putting? Because social media, as you know, it's super active. Tons of people are 24/7, which means that your content needs to be up there 24/7, constantly refreshing, constantly updating, and constantly changing.
Thanks so much, Ernie. So, this has been such a great conversation. I don't want to wrap up just yet, but I do have two more questions that I want to get to you. I've been seeing a ton of questions in the Q&A around recurring giving. So, to just summarize it all, I want to see, do you recommend looking for recurring gifts during year ends? And how would you best communicate your fundraising goals, like if you've hit them for the year when it comes to recurring gifts, because of course those funds are going to come in throughout the year.
So I've been wanting to answer the how would you report on recurring giving since I saw that question come in the chat like a while ago. Because we of course do that with our partners when we have recurring gifts come in. I think I tend to lean on the side of like undershooting the length that a recurring gift is going to go for. There are actually like pretty easy to model attrition equations that you can build that takes a look at like the average length of how long people have remained recurring donors for you to then be able to predict how long someone's going to continue to be one. But I mean, the vast majority of nonprofits, like the attrition rate is not less than 2 years. So you could most likely take that gift and multiply it by 24, and then get a sense of your return or your impact of marketing or things like that. Or you could be more conservative and take it down to like 14 or 12 if you really want to just have your leadership team feel very secure in those numbers. And then I have thoughts about whether how to go about asking for recurring gifts during year end, but I'll turn it to the team too because I've just been talking for a minute.
For that one, I mean, there's a lot of different tactics that we could recommend, but two I'd say are really important. Is like one is like using technology to your advantage and asking at the right time. Like going to someone who's never given and asking them to become a recurring giver without any sort of like program behind it, it's a lot. I mean, they barely even know what you do. But if they already get to that point where they're ready to give, that exact moment is one of the best times to ask them. And there is a donation platform that we really like called Fundraise Up, and some of you may use them. But one thing that is really cool about their technology is if I were to go in and try to make like a $100 one-time gift right now, it automatically, will say, hey, on the next screen, it'll say, hey, instead of donating $100 to us right now, would you consider signing up to donate $30 a month in our monthly giving program? And that simple ask for most of our clients when they've switched over to Fundraise Up, they have seen much faster growth with their recurring giving program without even having like a massive, platform behind it. As far as like, if you're a recurring giver, you get these things. If you don't have that type of technology, then you really need to create reasoning if you're going to want to grow that program. And for that, I would highly recommend going and checking out Charity Water's the Spring program. They do a great job at really differentiating. If you're giving one time, thank you so much. They're so thankful for that. But for the people who want to join the Spring, like they make you feel like you're joining a part of a community and you're getting access to all this stuff. And it's kind of the subscription. You feel like you're joining a subscription more than you are even a monthly donor program, and that creates a product for those individuals, and that can work really well too.
Great. Well, thank you guys. One last question here that I really wanted to leave everyone off with is, for everyone here today, what can you do now to set yourself up for success next year end? So any last thoughts as we close out our Q&A today?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make is to think that year-end giving starts during year-end. We start that strategy January 1st. All of those audiences, all of that cultivation starts the beginning of the year. So start building those audiences, start getting that pipeline fueled so that by the time you get to September, October, November, you have a strong remarketing audience to cater to, and you're not just scrambling, come September. So January 1st, 2024. I have high hopes for all of you.
Yeah, 100% agree to that. Like I said, use this last 2 weeks as a test. Good on his point earlier. This is the time. This is the time to truly hustle, get in there, and just start, adding and putting things out, and just go with the messaging, and just just do whatever you can, because the last 3 days of December, also, don't forget, 10% of all donations come in the last 3 days. So you have time. This is just a time to truly just, just go back to old college days where you just got to sit, pull over, all nighters to just put out some content and just get things done. Um, and like Geraldine said, once this year is over, it's really all about looking at your past data, look at all the stuff you've done, and then how do you 2x it? How do you 3x it? How do you improve all of that to build those audiences, build that engagement, to really crush 2024.
Thanks so much, Ernie. And with that, if we didn't get to your question, I am so very sorry, but that doesn't have to end here. So you can actually book a meeting with our team of experts to get all of your questions answered, and more. We'll help you chart out your fundraising strategy for the rest of the year and really explore what 2024 can look like for your nonprofit. So scan the QR code, book a meeting with our team of experts if you've enjoyed this conversation today, because the learnings continue and you can still get access to our team for even more. And in just the last moment here, I want to invite Al up to the stage for just a minute to share a little bit more about our nonprofit marketing club. Oh, someone's getting a phone call.
Sorry, team. I do have to run, but
all right, thanks so much, everybody. All right, and now we have Al here, gonna tell us a little bit more about the nonprofit marketing club.
Yeah, hey everyone. I know there's a few familiar faces in here that are already in the nonprofit marketing club, such as Paige. But nonprofit marketing club, essentially, we are answering nonprofit questions left and right every single day. Our team is on there. Oh, hi Paige. But essentially, nonprofit marketing club is where we're really forward thinking and having a community that's designed for nonprofit professionals to either share where they were 3 months ago to people that are now in that position. It's a community as well as the courses that we use to teach people about the Google ad grants, Facebook ads, essentially to make sure that your nonprofit marketing, that you're not doing it alone, because it is lonely and getting the cat out of the bag right away. Nonprofit marketing is hard. So that's why we created the Nonprofit Marketing Club. If you join now, there's a free trial to test it out for the rest of year-end giving. And I guarantee you're going to like it once you sign up. So yeah, we'll leave it up on the screen right here. But thank you for having me on the stage, Candace.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here today. There were so many great insights from this conversation. I'm really, really thankful for you sharing. And so, yeah, I will let everyone go and have a wonderful holiday season and a great year end, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Take care. Happy holidays.